Welcome to Doll Alchemy. This week's video is going to be a bit similar to our most recent one with Winter Schnee, in that we're going to do a little tour involving dolls that I've previously made before I had my YouTube channel, and we're going to record the making of a new doll which will complete the set. So this past year, I binge watched Avatar: The Last Airbender when it became available on Netflix. I was a little too old to have seen it when it first aired on Nickelodeon. And as a result, I had the Four Elements idea kind of knocking around in my head. So around this time last year, I started work on my Element collection of dolls. This is my Earth doll. She's made out of a Rebecca Steam. This is Water, made out of a Laguna Blue. And this is Fire. She was originally a Torlai out of the Monster High line. All three of these were made with Monster High dolls. So the only element I have left is air, and I've been saving an operetta doll for this element because the face mold on the doll has kind of these really cool like swirls carved in. You'll see more of it later. So first, like normal, I cut off all of her hair and removed her factory makeup so that I could prepare her for reroot. Now this time, I tried something new with doll hair. I set it in my springy curlers before I did any rerooting. So I threaded the synthetic hair through the curlers and poured boiling water over them and let them dry overnight. And as you can see, it gives her kind of like a really nice wave. It won't stay fully curly, and that's okay, just because that's not really the look that I'm going for. And of course, I ran out of hair halfway, so that's why along her temple she doesn't have any hair. So while I was waiting for my new shipment of hair to come, which was delayed because of all those snowstorms across the Midwest in the US, I got to work on her face up. So I'm dusting her face with some actual human makeup right now, and I sealed it with Mr. Super Clear just to give her, I felt like, a little bit more of an even surface to work with. I think this doll had been through some rough times before I bought her in a doll lot. So I started working with chalk pastels, which you can't see, they're right out of frame. I'm filling in the whorls that are on the side of her face. I love this design. They're meant to mimic, I think, music notes and things of that nature, but when you're sort of looking at them abstract, they remind me of wind or cartoony depictions of gusts of wind. So that's what I'm doing here. I fill in the general divots with chalk pastels, and then later on I'm going to run over deeper in the swirls with color pencils. So now that her face tattoos are filled in, I go to work on her regular face up, and I start by painting in the whites of her eyes with Angelus acrylic paint. While her eyes are drying, I pencil in her eyebrows with watercolor pencil. Here I am penciling in her lash line, which I set down a little bit lower than I have for any of her counterparts, just to be a little bit different, and I think it goes nicely with the eye shape that's already sort of molded into the doll. and I'm going to use my pearlescent acrylic paints to fill in the colors of her eyes. So for my elemental dolls, I've given them that sort of pupilless, catch lightless, sort of a two-toned color eye, which I then go over with dragonfly glaze. And I love this effect. I think it gives them sort of an otherworldly or almost like a godlike appearance. So her eyes are going to be sort of bluish purple, in keeping with this doll's color scheme. So I'm painting in her eyeshadow, which is a watered down silver pearlescent paint. Same brand, Angelus brand. And I use acrylic black paint to paint in her baseline eyelashes. Okay, and here's that paint that's going to give her eyes that sort of glittery, glimmery tint to them. Off camera, I painted in, I think, 2 other passes of the dragonfly glaze in her eyes. So now that that's dry, I'm using Liquitex gloss varnish to paint over her eyes. I also include her eyelashes. I pass over her eyelashes with the gloss too, because I find it makes the the black stand out a little more. Then I also find that if you put in some light strokes, it helps define individual sections of her eyelashes a little bit more. I also add the gloss to her lips, which I've been building up color on, kind of a navy blue, I guess you could say. So I got my second shipment of doll hair, and I filled in all of her bald spots. So it's nice and luscious and ready to be set aside so that I can do the blushing on the doll body. So her neck also has the divots that her face does, the same sort of whorls of designs, and it carries down onto her arms, which is filled in by factory paint. So I've painted over the whorls that are on her arms with white acrylic, and then I'm going over them with my watercolor pencils. That same kind of scheme too, that blue, teal, light blue. And when that's been completed, I sprayed over it with Mr. Super Clear, and I'm blushing her body with the same soft pastels that I used for her face up. And I haven't done a full body blushing, I don't think, at least not on my channel. It came out pretty decent. So in thinking about the outfit that I wanted to create for my air doll, I wanted something that would not impede the wings that I'm going to give her or get in the way of her legs when she's flying. So I've used a fabric that's definitely see-through, and basically I kind of just twisted it around her body. It took days of me messing around until I found a design that I liked, so I didn't subject that to you on camera. Here I am removing the stone from this really cool belt that came with the Starfire doll that I purchased so I could use her boots for my Jane Lane doll. I've replaced that jewel with one of these really nice multicolor toned gems that I had sitting in my collection just waiting to be used. So I've attached some ribbon, just regular ribbon, to the inside of the belt so that it will drape in such a way that you don't see her underwear, but it won't get in the way of her legs when she's moving around. I buckle her belts so that the train of her, I guess you could call it a dress, hangs over the back of it. And I'm going to create, I guess, a little bit more of a tail just to give the dress a little bit more of a color pop. So I'm going to mount that onto basically the butt of her dress and add in some more jewels so that you don't see any of the sew lines. And I didn't want to leave the front of her dress too unadorned, I guess you would say. So I've assembled a bunch of random jewels and stones just so that I can make the front of the dress a little more interesting. So I've got this big medallion there in front of her boobs, and I'm going to connect that to the, I guess, the waist part of her dress with some other jewels. This way it wouldn't be knocking around when she's, you know, mid-air. It's definitely more freeform than most of the outfits that I design for my dolls, but I think it goes well with the concept of a creature that flies. So I stole these wings from a blind box toy that my son got and forgot about ages ago. Some sort of random creature. Anyway, they were absolutely perfect for this project. I thought they were a great size for the Monster High figures. So I prime coated it with a cream spray paint, and then I gave it a couple of layers of Mr. Super Clear because spray paint on, I don't even know, it's like a soft plastic. It's probably vinyl. It's always sticky, so it needed a few other layers of sealant in order to make sure that the pastels would go on without clumping up. So I'm dusting the feathers with again, like a blue, teal, light blue color scheme that matches the whorls on her face and arm. And I'm just building up layers. I think I sealed this coat, and then I went back and ran over it again and sealed it. And then off camera, I did the backs of the wings in the same order, the darker blue, light blue, teal. Also off camera, I drilled holes into her shoulder blades because there's nothing funnier than me trying to do anything with power tools. Once the doll was finished, I had her dress all sewn on. I plugged the wings into her back holes, and I filled it in with some epoxy so that they wouldn't fall out. So after some assembling, this is the finished product. I pulled back her hair into a bit of a half braid and left some tendrils in front. And much earlier, I forgot to videotape, but I took some existing strappy heels from a Monster High doll that I already had and painted them cream and just put some little studs on them. I thought they looked cute. So this completes my set of elemental dolls. I'm very pleased with the way that Air has come out. In fact, usually when there's any kind of a show or a book or anything that uses these as themes, the Air person character is my least favorite. But I have to say, I think she's actually my favorite out of the set, which I didn't expect. somewhere down the road, I plan on doing a much better photo shoot with my elemental dolls. And when I do, I'll be sure to share with you guys too. I think this will be the last time you guys come into a video where the doll we make is the last one in a long series. Have a one-off doll coming up that's actually a commission. So that'll be our next video, and then hopefully we can get started on a brand new series of dolls where you can watch from the very inception. Thanks for stopping by. If you like this video and you'd like to see more content, please like, subscribe, and share my channel, and let everyone else know. Thanks again. Bye.